Kia ora, it's Ruth here in my backyard in Christchurch, and I thought it was a good time of year to talk about my thoughts on growing from seed versus using seedlings. Now, I'd like to say that I grow from seeds only, but I definitely do both. For me, it depends on ease, but also what's happening in the garden. For example, my kale. You can see these behind me. They've all gone to flower. I have had ones in the garden that have been in from about October last year. Kale's definitely a longevity crop, you can just keep going and going and going. These ones only went in about July, they've all gone to flower. From what I think is we had a day a couple of weeks ago where it was 19 degrees and the next day it shot right down to about 1. And so that just gave the plants a bit of a fright and they thought, let's put our seeds out, let's go to flower. But the great thing about kale is when it goes to flower, it's not like lettuce. Lettuce goes really bitter and horrible when it goes to flower, but kale keeps the same flavour. So rather than ripping them all out or rather than pulling all the flower heads off, what I'm doing is I'm just keeping on harvesting it from the bottom to the top and I'm going to let them all go to seed. I'll end up having way more seeds than what I can handle, but it's okay because seeds are great in the fact you can give them away. I might give some away straight as seeds, but I also might grow a whole lot and then give them away as seedlings. So that's why I bought some more kale though, is because I do have some seeds from my seed experiment, which has my kale kind of, you know, getting up there, but nothing like this, and I do want to keep harvesting it. So about $3 or so for this, and I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 plants. It's okay, it's definitely cheaper than buying it at the supermarket. A bunch of kale would probably cost about $3 in itself, and that's one bunch. This you keep on picking, and also I find when I buy things like bunches of kale or bags of lettuce, unless I'm using it all in one go for one salad, they end up going back into the fridge and they end up getting slimy or limp, and you just know you're not eating good food if it's limp or slimy. But seeds. My seeds, I definitely need a better way of storing them. I've got heaps of different ones from Country Value, Kings, Yates, Homegrown, Neighbours, but if this is about $3 for about 8, this is $3 for about 100. And so that's what I really love about growing from seeds, is it's definitely really cost efficient and it's really satisfying. It's really cool, like the seed experiment, getting up in the morning and seeing they've grown a little bit more or they've started popping out. So here I've still got some little ones starting. You can see from the seed experiment, seed raising mix. For me this probably looks like how it's meant to look like. They're nice and strong and they just look really lovely. If I look at the soil and drainage, they're still growing, but they're really quite leggy, which is really interesting. They are a little bit wind blown because I left them outside yesterday because it's so nice and warm. They need a bit of hardening off anyway. So yeah, growing from seed, you've got all of that benefits. So I'd be really interested to know what you do. Do you grow from seed? Do you buy punnets of plants and plant them in as seedlings already? Do you share seeds? Do you share babies? Another thing I really like doing is going to the reduce declare. Again, this was $1 for 6 lettuces. Not very good value for money, but I kind of feel like I need to help save them. And again, when I've got my own lettuces that are that big, having ones that are this big helps, because I did let my bird netting blow off one day, came back and they were to the ground. Our birds love lettuce around here. So another one is looking at the reduce declare to see which ones are there, because especially in this season things are getting so hot, all they really need is a dunk in water afterwards. I leave them sitting in for an hour or so to make sure that they're nice and wet, because generally it's just they haven't had enough water, and then they're good to go. You'll see behind me the chicken coop is getting closer and closer. We're hoping this week is the week for chickens, so look out for an update for that. And just to end this video, I'll quickly show you what's happening with the seeds that are actually in the garden from the seed experiment. Here are the seeds from my seed experiment, which are planted in the garden bed. You can see that the broccolini is growing really nice and tall. It's nice and strong. We've only got a few little beetroots come up so far, but there's still ones coming up. And kale, same. The one that I thought last week, wasn't sure if it was a kale or not, definitely a weed, so that's gone. And we've got some more coming up over here. You can see some quite happy lettuces and spinach just behind it. And I've got my broccolini on one side and my not my Brussels sprouts, my broad beans on the other. And if we come around here, here is what I was talking about, soaking seeds. This, I've just got a bucket of water, and so I'm soaking them for a little bit. And here is how these ones are going. These ones are not going as well as the ones in the garden bed, but they're definitely popping up, and I'll definitely have too many to plant out in my garden myself and all eat. So if you live near me, let me know, and I'm sure I can pass on some seedlings. Thank you again for watching. Remember to subscribe if you'd like to see more, and I'll see you next time. Ka kite.